This program is brought to you by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC.
This is NDDC Today.
Hello, we thought we'd never get here. A couple of years ago when we were thinking of 2022, it seemed so far away. And when you thought about it, was the year of the World Cup as well. But all of a sudden we're here, and it's one of the most difficult years to come. 2021 has not been easy for anyone in any regard. Not to talk particularly about the NDDC, there's been so many, changes, so many goings and comings and talk and so on. But the commission stood. It succeeded. It saw 2022. Now, what does the commission have for you this year? This week, we take a look at that and, try to gauge the mind of the executives as to what to expect next year. Welcome to NDDC Today. So as a gesture of the NDDC's overwhelming concern for the students of the Niger Delta, the first act this year is to roll out a brand new 1,050 bed space hostel in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Now, there are precedents towards this because the NDDC for the past couple of years have been rolling out hostels upon hostels. As we see first in this story, then we go to the commissioning of the new one.
The Niger Delta makes up 23% of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with a population of over 20 million people. 60% of Niger Delta are youth. About 2 million of the youth are students in tertiary institutions, spread across the 28 universities and 26 polytechnics in the Niger Delta. In this highly modernity-conscious region, education is an industry. People here feel utterly irrelevant without it. As a result, its higher institutions are packed full, year in, year out, with as many unadmitted as there are those admitted. Pressure on higher education facilities here are on the richer scales. Accommodation the most visibly hit. This scene tells the typical story of a higher institution accommodation facility in the Niger Delta. Packed rooms, failed toilet facilities. A claustrophobic nightmare. A breeding ground for all sorts of deviant and immoral behavior.
This place is always noisy. You can't focus in this particular room because of number of population. Moreover, we are 12 in this room.
We are 8 in this room. 8 in this room, and that's 4 outside here and 4 inside. And as you can see, this is how we manage ourselves, despite the fact that this is a federal university.
The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, says over 75% of students in higher institutions are forced by those conditions to live outside campus. That's those who can afford it. However, living outside the security of the university has often been a tale of woe for many, particularly female students, many of whom have been gang-raped, molested and abused. The trauma goes on unabated. Enter the NDDC. The NDDC cannot draw up curricula or even enforce academic discipline, but it can intervene in this area of infrastructure, in keeping with the mandate to develop the Niger Delta, harness and nurture its human resources. The NDDC thus decided to act, proposing across the Niger Delta 19 prototype hostels, while at the same time setting a standard for future accommodation projects. In 2004, the NDDC awarded contract for the construction of the 19 prototype hostel projects in 17 universities across the 9 states of the Niger Delta. In July 2013, the NDDC prototype hostel project at the Imo State University of Owerri became the first to be completed and commissioned. It all emerged at a colorful ceremony. The project was the first hostel for students on the university campus. The mega hostel projects have 176 rooms with the capacity of over 500 bed spaces, including 48 bed spaces for physically challenged students. The hostels each come with standard electrical fittings, wardrobes, fans, air conditioners, 36 bathrooms and toilets, an administrative block with offices, stores, supermarkets, cyber cafe, as well as games room and student common room. On the project's bill is also a waterworks with a 20,000-liter overhead tank, a surface tank, and a water treatment plant. In December 2013, the NDDC prioritized the completion of ongoing projects. The fast-track projects received the necessary attention in terms of funding and supervision. This led to the completion and commissioning within weeks of the hostel project at the Federal University of Technology Obinze Owerri early in February 2014. In the following month, March 2014, the NDDC was at the University of Benin for the commissioning and handover of the University of Benin hostel complex. The NDDC was not done yet with hostel commissioning for that year, as in November, the completed Delta State University Abraka hostel project was commissioned and handed over to the institution, making it the fourth of the fast-track projects. In July 2015, the prototype hostel at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, Akwa Ibom State, and the Michael Okpara University Umudike in Abia State were commissioned and promptly handed over to the universities. In spite of some setbacks, life has just taken a new turn in the universities in the Niger Delta.
It's a very beautiful place, actually. I mean, the first day I stepped in here, I was like, wow, is this really our hostel?
I'm so happy to be here because it's specially made for me. I came in here and I made the bed, the wardrobe, the reading table, and also the toilets.
In this hostel, we also have the supermarket where students can come and get their stuffs, the bread, the provisions, soaps, snacks, and all that. So in this hostel, students are really happy here. Thank NDDC.
The 36-year-old River State University of Science and Technology, UST, as it is popularly called, is the first technological university to be situated within the Niger Delta region and is one of the beneficiaries of the over 500-bed modern hostel built and delivered by the Niger Delta Development Commission. This magnificent edifice is divided into 3 floors, with all rooms furnished with beds, mattresses, pillows, ceiling fans, electrical fittings, wardrobes, reading tables, and chairs. 2 rooms share a bathroom and toilet facility, while rooms for disabled students are all en suite. All a student needs is to just move in with clothing and books, as everything else is made available by the NDDC. This gesture has greatly enhanced the standard of living for the students of the university. The hostel has 2 common rooms, including other state-of-the-art facilities such as a beautiful internal courtyard for relaxation and a 24-hour security service. The situation is the same in other tertiary institutions across the Niger Delta, where the prototype hostels are being commissioned. Some have other aesthetics like a bookshop, a photo studio, games rooms, barbing salon, and a beauty parlor, amongst others. Here at the Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umudike in Abia State, the same superstructure is replicated with all the facilities and furnishings. The students just move in with their clothes and books. According to students and school authorities at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, the NDDC hostel meets up the present and future needs of the medical students. Indeed, for them, it's a timely intervention.
Seriously, it's something the Nigerian government has really done to make sure that medical program and the University of Uyo medical students are quite comfortable, and for that, I and all other medical students are most grateful.
One can therefore understand the joy of the university community for the great relief which these hostels have brought to the students and their parents.
The atmosphere was electrifying as various dignitaries, cultural troops, and indeed Niger Deltans trooped out at the University of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State to witness the commissioning ceremony of the 1,050-bed space prototype student hostel, built and donated to the university by the NDDC. The feeling of everyone there at the event was indeed palpable. Speaking at the virtual commissioning, which he performed from the Presidential Council Chambers in Abuja, President Buhari said the NDDC has demonstrated that it can meet the yearnings of the people of the Niger Delta. He commended the Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs as well as the management of the NDDC for proving as a people and government the right and proper things can be done to improve the living conditions of all Nigerians.
This ultra-modern hotel complex, built and donated to the University of Uyo by NDDC, renews our confidence that the forensic audit, which has been completed and currently being reviewed for necessary action, it achieved one of its core objectives. That objective is to rebuild the NDDC into an agency that is well equipped and better placed to facilitate sustainable regional development in a transparent and impactful way.
President Muhammadu Buhari stated that the federal government has invested significantly in the NDDC, saying this outlay of resources must be justified with verifiable projects prudently and efficiently implemented, which will improve the living standards of the people. He said that in the past 12 months, he has begun to see important signs that the NDDC is ready to assume its statutory responsibility of addressing the needs of the people it was established to serve. Speaking at the occasion, the Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, stated that President Muhammadu Buhari is committed to the sustainable development of the Niger Delta region, noting that the NDDC and Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs are involved in multiple projects aimed at bringing succor to the people of the Niger Delta.
I do know that as somebody who is working closely with President Muhammadu Buhari, that is very focused on developing Nigeria. He is very focused on making legacy for Nigeria. He is very focused on changing the lives of the people of Nigeria. And above all, he is very, very determined to leave Niger Delta better than he met it. Far, far better than he met it.
Senator Akpabio further stated that the hostel complex is a metaphor of the overall transformation of the NDDC under the direction of Mr. President into an agency that is worthy of his promise and vision, an agency better equipped to discharge its mandate of facilitating the sustainable development of the Niger Delta into a region that is socially stable, politically peaceful, economically prosperous, and ecologically regenerative.
Permit me to say therefore that the complex that you are seeing now, you call it a metaphor of sorts. It's a major transformation agent for the University of Uyo, which is a federal institution.
In his welcome address, the NDDC Interim Administrator, Dr. Effiong Akwa, stated that the 1,050-bed hostel is an aspect of the overall investment of the NDDC. He posited that the NDDC is committed to the development of the human resources of the Niger Delta, hence the investment in the students' hostels. Akwa declared that this is the third time in 2021 alone that President Muhammadu Buhari will be commissioning an NDDC project, noting that this is particularly significant for the Commission.
This is the third time in 2021 alone that the President Muhammadu Buhari will be commissioning an NDDC project. I do not remember any other time in the history of this agency that the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will so honor the Commission. And for us in the Commission, this is particularly significant. For me also, it is humbling and a great milestone, considering the challenging times in the life of the Commission when I was appointed by President as Interim Administrator and Chief Executive Officer.
He advised the university authorities to look into procuring a professional facility administrator to manage the new hostel complex, and urged the students who will live there and use the facilities to understand the sacrifices made by all, particularly by government, to provide them with a better living and learning environment.
I urge you therefore that you must fervently make effective use of this place, that you do all that is within your power to keep the facilities clean, intact, and so that the dreams could be kept alive.
The completion of the University of Uyo hostel had received a shot in the arm during the assumption of office of the current management of the NDDC, led by Dr. Effiong Akwa. Buoyed by the marching order from the President that all abandoned projects of the NDDC must be completed and handed over to their beneficiaries, the NDDC Chief Executive had paid several visits to the university to monitor and supervise the completion of the project, thus culminating in the epoch ceremony that was witnessed on Thursday, 30th of December 2021. The University Vice-Chancellor, Professor Nyando Ndayo, commended the NDDC and the Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs for ensuring the completion of the students' hostel, noting that the project has suffered from abandonment for 17 years before the current management of the Commission stepped in to remedy the situation.
I count myself as the luckiest Vice Chancellor because many who were here before me cried, did everything to bring back this hostel. I think it is my time. That's why this morning the visitor described me as a lucky Vice Chancellor, which I accept so.
In their goodwill messages, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Niger Delta, Peter Wamboshi, and the House Representatives Committee on the Niger Delta, Honorable Olubumi Tunji-Ojo, said they were pleased to be part of the commissioning ceremony.
I am proud to be associated with NDDC at this point in time. When the history of this legacy project of Buhari administration is written, no doubt all who contributed one way or the other will be happy to have played their part.
This hostel will not only provide comfortable accommodation to our students, but will also reiterate the commitment of the new NDDC on its mandate of providing support to the people of the Niger Delta.
feeling of joy over the commissioning of the project was also shared by various dignitaries and past alumni of the institution at the occasion.
We are aware of the great things that His Excellency, our President, our dear President, that is doing, not only to the Niger Delta, but the entire Federation. So we thank him. We ask God to continue to bless him. We ask God to continue to touch the lieutenants that he has around himself, so that this great work will continue.
You will be having problem of carrying capacity in this university because we've not been having enough students, enough space for students, classroom, enough space for accommodation, and this is adding value to this, and this is answering that.
For us to see this transformation today, the Alumni Association is entirely happy. We are excited. We appreciate the NDDC. We appreciate Mr. President.
I am so happy that our effort is not in vain, because there's a situation we could have donated this massive size of land to the university and it is not utilized. So we are so happy finding this kind of edifice in my community. I'm so happy.
I can assure you this is another huge legacy and landmark project. I mean, kudos again to our own very son, whom we are well proud, and that is Dr. Effiong Akwa. Then with the cooperation of the Honorable Minister for the Niger Delta, and of course the President Commander-in-Chief, like he said during the commissioning, that he has given a directive that projects should be completed instead of awarding new ones.
It's a beautiful project that will stand the test of time. You know, all over. You know that this is not the first. We've had in Futo, we've had in the River State University, we've had in about 3 or 4 other universities, and some others are still in the making. So it's a beautiful edifice that will stand the test of time and speaks eloquently of the desire of the Commission to do things that will, that will impact in the lives of the people.
The pomp and pageantry that accompanied the commissioning of that magnificent Unuyo hostel built by the NDDC as part of the many that the Commission wants to provide to ease the accommodation problem of tertiary institutions in the Niger Delta. Well, that's a good start for the year, wouldn't you say? We'll be here next week. What else the NDDC wants to surprise the Niger Delta with. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you same time next week.